the early 90s, I was part of the founding group of Join, working with and building relationships with folks that were living on the streets, and hearing their stories and frustrations about the system or the lack thereof a system, or people who had tried to get off the streets and it hadn't worked. Started just sitting down with people and talking about, if you're going to do something differently, what would it look like? What came out of those conversations was kind of a vision for an organization that looked different. For me, Join has always been about relationships and about building relationships of solidarity with people who are oppressed. And homelessness is an experience of alienation, of oppression. Those relationships, it wasn't just a conversation about housing or income or health, but it was also about community and family. So part of that idea of how do you help people, it has to be more than a room. It needs to be about building community.
I do think that Join was founded in a way that made it special from the beginning, because it was rooted in these core values of not just building relationship, but recognizing the importance of power dynamics in social services. When we go to try to help people, there is a risk that we actually make their situation worse if we, in that process, disempower them, take away from them the ability to make their own decisions, to lead their own lives. That we have to, as people with resources and privilege and power because we're part of the system, we have to come into those relationships not just as our authentic selves, but recognizing the power that we hold and the importance of sharing that and giving that power over to folks who don't have very much power in our society, and without it are unable to move forward. Join was able to show through its work, through these principles of relationship and power sharing, that folks who others assumed would never be able to get off the street, would just die on the street or had chosen to be on the street, in fact wanted to get off the street, could get into housing, could succeed in housing if we change the model of service.
From my perspective, Join is different in that it doesn't hold rigidly to some of the constructs that other programs do. It was really intentional in what are the things we think we can do that are different than what's happening in the system, or that the system is a system gap that we think we can fill. So we were able to innovate and create brand new programs for like the Mobile Permanent Supportive Housing team, the InReach team, to really go to existing sites and provide housing placement support. I think really strong commitment to the values, that person-centered, relationship-based core of the work. That is something that sustains, and staff are drawn there for that. So longevity of staff that are rooted in those values. And I think in the board of directors has continued to really stay true to the values and true to the mission, while continuing to look at ways to grow and expand.
Over the last 30 years, I am really happy to say that we have helped way over 15,000 individuals find their way back into housing. Join is a housing placement focused agency, and every single program that we have is focused on ending someone's homelessness and making sure that they stay out of it once they climb out. We have a series of core principles that really guides how we provide support. And two of those things are really critical, which is one, being non-judgmental, and two, having genuine empathy. The truth is, houselessness can happen to any of us at any time. There are so many people who are one disaster away from finding themselves living on the streets or living in a shelter. And a lot of the times, their resilience is stronger than a lot of the folks we typically come across, because they've already dealt with the worst of the worst and survived. So we believe that tapping into that strength, tapping into their humanity, tapping into our empathy really helps guide people to getting to a place that makes sense for them and allows them to thrive once they get back on their feet.